shallow again. I wonder. Oh shoot.
When it comes to Aang's and the Avatar's characterization throughout the series, an overwhelming majority of the time, he is presented as a lawful good hero, if you will. That's not to say there are not any gray areas, there certainly are, only those are often portrayed through other characters, and Aang as the Avatar remains a beacon of mostly pure good to more so accentuate the contrast between them. And importantly, in the eyes of the world, outside of the Fire Nation, there are very few who consider the Avatar as a somehow bad or unjust force. That is, with one major exception: Avatar Day. I think this episode primarily explores two major interconnected ideas. One is the legacy of an avatar and the inheritance of that legacy, while the other explores how malleable perception is and the importance of questioning preconceived notions. This episode weaves them together in a slightly cyclical fashion, so that's what we'll do as well. Only, in reverse order. Why? To make you question the natural order of things. We see this with the conversations around the history of Kyoshi Island and Avatar Day, we see that with Zuko once again donning the mask of the Blue Spirits, and actually, it's also literally the first thing we see with Sokka. We open on this goofy scene of a spiderweb in Sokka's mouth while Momo just wants to yoink the whole thing out. For those of you who grew up in the 9gag era, the whole story of "did you know you unknowingly swallow 4 to 8 depending on the source spiders every year while sleeping" will be very familiar to you. Just in case you're wondering, yes, it is obviously not true. It literally comes from an article about how easily people accept information. Or, I think it did anyway, because there's a whole different rabbit hole of mysteries there. Like, apparently that article was also a troll, but the source of that article is an actual book. I've got no idea what's going on there, but yes, it is not true, but it is kept circulating for years and years and years. So right away, we see a thing that is accepted as fact, when in reality, it's not. Right on the heels of that, we have the vicious rough rhinos appear, who too are not quite as they seem.
The rough rhinos are legendary. They are also a very capable singing group.
Unfortunately, this time it is not their singing that's explosive, but rather, well, explosives. So again, all is not as it may seem. Normally though, I just consider them as this small encounter to push the gang further in the story. But if Space Sword gets a tragic send-off, then we must also acknowledge the sad reality of Boomerang almost being lost here.
I used to be Boomerang guy.
Okay, but seriously, as much as I joke about it, and as much as Sokka might not believe in cloud readings, this little Boomerang incident causes him to describe most of Book 3.
Imagine if you lost your arrow.
I have hair? Ta-da! Normal kid.
Or if Katara lost her
Hair loopies.
Aang would grow out his hair and cover up his arrow because his survival had to be hidden from the world. They had to deliberately empower those false legacies of the fight in Ba Sing Se. The world really had to believe that the Avatar had truly been defeated. And the same goes for Katara. She could no longer style her hair in the traditional Water Tribe style. Just like with her necklace, she had to hide her heritage and empower the belief that she is of the Fire Nation. That's what Sokka's whole thing is about. He wants to be just Boomerang guy. He wants those roles in Team Avatar to be clearly defined, and for each of them to have their own positions. We'd explore this again with his training in Book 3, but that's not really super important here. And to immediately play up that angle of these wrong expectations, the merchant wishes them a happy Avatar Day, which, I think understandably so, makes everyone think that this is a festival held in honor of the Avatar. We've seen very similar things happening on Kyoshi Island, the Northern Water Tribe, and even smaller scale examples like Omashu. Everything here seems like a celebration, from the festival music to the 3 whole statues being wheeled out, it all seems to honor the Avatar. But suddenly, a lot of horror settings tend to explore this trope of seemingly a completely normal town, sometimes even celebrating a festival akin to Avatar Day, having this extremely dark underbelly. Midsommar fits this to a T, and something like City of Walls and Secrets also explores this to a certain degree. But the reason why I bring this up is because that is not what Avatar Day is about. There isn't some twisted dark secret to this town or some grand conspiracy. No, all there is not quite controversial, not quite misunderstood, but the quite complicated legacy of Kyoshi. And I guess by extension you would also have to say Roku, because, you know, he was the next Avatar and they hated the Avatar, but Roku never did anything to fix that, so I would suppose that Roku is also a bad guy in their book. Right away, we see a bunch of very explicit mirroring. Where in Kyoshi Island we saw the famous mouth foaming guy, here, Aang's announcement sparks genuine hate and fear. Because this is still a cartoon, obviously we don't see them grab their torches and pitchforks. Well, actually we do see them grab their torches, but we don't see like anyone immediately trying to attack Aang or something like that. Rather, we zero in on the more philosophical debates around the duties of the Avatar and what that entails. Ever the pragmatist, Sokka just recommends,
Yeah, bending slice!
with Katara too adding that he can help the world while being locked up. But Aang fires back saying he can't do that if people think he's a murderer either. We get to the actual allegations later, but on a conceptual level, the world needs to understand that, at the end of the day, the duties of the Avatar lie with the world as a whole. Not Party A or Party B, but a mutually beneficial compromise between both. But that in and of itself is a very complicated matter, because people are fundamentally wired to be loss-averse. To find a compromise, both parties will have to give something up. In a case like this, that was obviously infinitely more than to be Kyoshi Island, since Chin was the one leading the entire war effort to begin with. In the eyes of this town, it was the Avatar who robbed them of so much. They lack the empathy to understand that their gain only came at the loss of everyone else. Regardless of how much better off they would have been without Kyoshi's interference, her interference was obviously a must. And the beautiful thing about Avatar is that, as per usual, all of these conversations are also mirrored on Zuko's side as he dons the Mask of the Blue Spirits. The way I think of his narrative in this episode, as well as Zuko alone, is a almost dark timeline version of what Aang and Kyoshi could have been. In the same way Kyoshi's legacy of saving the inhabitants of Kyoshi Island was twisted into this vicious killing of Chin, Zuko's legacy of simply speaking out against his father too was twisted into a traitor of the nation. Iroh's teachings are about exactly that.
In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself.
The only thing that might drive people, misunderstood by the world, is only their own guiding star. Something we know that Zuko currently does not have. Again, we see plenty more of this with Zuko alone. But the thing with these kinds of societal beliefs where one party is pushed out of these conversations entirely is that it further incentivizes the action that caused them to be pushed out of society to begin with. Because I mean, hey, there's nothing to lose, right? Zuko is already perceived as the bad guy, so he might as well become one. It's all about how perception not just colors reality, but eventually shapes it. This would also be a huge struggle for Aang, which I've covered in other videos before. But this question of desperately wanting the world to understand you is perfectly encapsulated in the last couple of minutes of The Awakening. Aang wants the world to have hope in the Avatar, but he realizes that he must sacrifice that desire and that pride. In his darkest hour, the only guiding star is himself, and knowing that, when the time is right, the Avatar will return yet again. We'll loop back to this point with Kyoshi in a little bit, but personally, this is what I still hope the next series is all about. The legacy of a truly misunderstood Avatar and how the following one has to grapple with the entire world just hating them. Just hear me out. Imagine Sozin's comet returning during Korra's era. Some firebender provokes like a spirit and causes mass destruction. Korra sacrifices herself to protect the people, but in the end, she and she alone is blamed for opening the spirit portals to begin with. She didn't cause harm, she stopped that firebender, but in the end, she is still blamed. The potential there is insane. Luckily for me, this is explored a teeny bit more in the Kyoshi novels and will certainly be explored even more in the inevitable Kuruk ones. Essentially what we learn is that the legacy of Kuruk is almost entirely misunderstood by the world. For a quick lore recap on Kuruk, the way his story is presented to us throughout Aang's story is that he is just this easygoing, nonchalant dude who kinda didn't really care about his avatar responsibilities. We get hints to there being more, with like Umi's face being stolen by Ko, but by and large, he's not believed to be a super proactive avatar. In reality, however, the whole reason why the world perceived him as preoccupied with different things is because he was. The other thing being this, small little thing of the spirit world pouring into the human one. Let's go a layer deeper with another lore recap. Father Glowworm was basically a really bad spirit who created fractures in the human world and would lure people into the spirit one to feast on their blood. That was already really bad, but those rifts were used by other dark spirits and that then spiraled into a whole conflict with the Avatar. Eventually, Kuruk essentially sacrificed himself to keep those spirits contained and ensured that, at least for a little while, Glowworm would remain inactive. That would of course change again in Kiyoshi's era, but you get the idea. The world never knew of his true suffering and of his true sacrifice. In my mind, it is like the perfect example of leveraging the wider lore of Avatar to tell these incredibly compelling stories where the world hates their own savior. It's not because you want to create the next Game of Thrones with a morally grey avatar. No, it's just because the legacy and the goals of different avatars are perceived completely differently by different people. I mean, can you imagine what would have happened to the Fire Nation had Zuko not taken the throne? I mean, it would literally be like a chaotic regime collapse. I'm pretty sure Aang's legacy wouldn't be so squeaky clean. That aside though, the reason why I bring all of this up is not just because I'm a ever so slightly tragic story enjoyer, or because I like to Trojan horse my videos with a whole bunch of Avatar lore. I bring it up because these in-universe conversations of who is a good and a bad Avatar completely transcend the story. We, the viewers, talk about these kinds of things. Obviously, we have a whole lot more information than like anyone in universe, maybe minus Wan Shi-tong. But misunderstanding or no misunderstanding, you'll straight up see people come to fists while talking about whether or not Roku is worse than Korra or whatever else. Even with all the information at our fingertips, it is still easy to overlook personal motivations, goals that might not be aligned, and a long list of other factors that could entirely recontextualize the true legacy of an avatar. Okay, but seriously, please have the next Avatar be like completely hated by the world, only to then rediscover Korra's legacy and have it be like a super spooky thing with weird spirits like Glowworm and co. Basically just do Book 3 of Korra, then fix Book 2 of Korra, and do it again, in that order. First, big suffering, we don't know why. Then, we learn of spooky spirits that broke everything during Sozin's Comet. And by spirits, we are talking like Glowworm and co, and not like those plushy little things. Anyway, returning to the actual episode, like I mentioned at the top of the video, it's now that we loop back to that questioning of those preconceived notions. And so, Sokka's famous investigation begins, in turn spawning decades worth of the highest quality memes. Also, fun fact, if you remember the goofy umbrella guy in The Fortune Teller, Sokka wears a very similar hat. Considering he already predicted most of Book 3, the turns have indeed tabled. Another interesting thing to note here is the whole Kyoshi did this 370 years ago, which, doesn't really add up. Aang is 12, or 112 accounting for his deep slumber. And you don't even need to do further math, because that is at least 250 years split between Kyoshi and Roku. More if you account for the fact that Kyoshi was already a full-grown adult. And we actually also know that Roku was 70 when he died, so yeah, Kyoshi is like ancient. I think when the series was originally being developed, this is just a timeline error and that's about it. Objection! But since then, in other Avatar media, there have been very interesting developments regarding the prolonging of one's life through certain bending methods that neatly cover up that little plot hole. But more importantly, I think it simultaneously brings up even further discussions about whether or not an Avatar should ever prolong their life. Not entirely relevant for the topic of this video, but with the series establishing the message that every Avatar is born into the era they are most needed in, it just creates these really interesting conversations about the Avatar themselves, perhaps upsetting balance through something like this. But alright, that's a topic for another day. It's just the 370 years thing, it kinda does stick out. But a quick thing to note before we return to Sokka's investigation are the other prisoners Aang chats with. Much like with the rest of this episode, they too turn out to be nothing like you'd expect. They build Aang up and even give him girl advice. The biggest guy there, the one who you would assume is like a hardened criminal, has this whole dramatized sequence of even shedding a tear.
Don't be afraid to tell her how you feel.
It's all a matter of not judging a book by its cover, about blindly accepting convenient truths, or any other way you want to phrase it. And that continues as Sokka continues his very deep investigation. Very quickly we see that interpretive side of history and how much the perception of what are largely the same events can differ. In just a couple of minutes, we see just how much evidence there is against the story presented, ranging from Kyoshi, not even being there, to her gargantuan feat. Which brings us to what might be the best part of this episode, the trial itself. First off, the whole justice, because it's
Just us.
is obviously caricatured to a ridiculous degree, but the message it's trying to get across, I think, is very realistic. Perception is reality, and that's exactly what we see throughout this entire trial. To two different people, the meaning of justice can be two completely different things. There is a very good reason why we have a separate term for vigilante justice, for example. justice is a thing that has been made up by people. So yes, when it's just us, they can decide what justice is. Another interesting little tidbit here is them referring to Aang as just. Could be because he's technically on trial as Kyoshi while being Aang, so they're technically, like talking about the Avatar, which is like an it, I guess? Or it could almost be a dehumanizing method of not even referring to him as a person, but rather just as an object. But alas, Aang did not call Saul, and his entire defense is certainly one of the most defenses of all time. Luckily though, Kyoshi pops in to give her take on the matter, and it's here where we really explore that question of evidence versus belief. Sokka and the gang go on this whole research escapade to prove Aang and Kyoshi's innocence. Every bit of evidence suggests that the version of the story they're being told is not accurate. Kyoshi simply couldn't have committed the crime she's accused of, or at least not in the manner presented. The inhabitants of the town, on the other hand, are recounting what is basically the same story, only one that has changed and evolved over the course of generations. In terms of big events, it is the same. There was a confrontation. The only thing that it's missing is, that crucial bit of context behind Kyoshi's actions and the fact that she didn't actually kill anyone. But then there is Kyoshi herself. As per Iroh's teachings, as soon as she appears, she very bluntly proclaims that she did in fact kill Chin. She doesn't dance around the topic, she doesn't even introduce herself, she doesn't explain anything. She is right to the point because she doesn't need the validation of anyone. As we saw in our flashback, technically, no, she didn't kill him. You can see how they might attribute his death to Kyoshi, but it certainly wasn't a battle or an attack or anything like that. But to Kyoshi, both their narrative of her being just this big bad boogeyman, as well as all the evidence pointing to her actually being innocent, do not matter. She believed that Chin was upsetting the balance in the world and subjugating independent lands, and so she stopped it. Aang even asks about this in the series finale, saying she never actually killed him and wondering how she could handle that kind of pressure. But Kyoshi just says that whether or not he died in the process is completely irrelevant. She acted in the best interests of the world and stopped a tyrant pursuing selfish interests. To her, that is where the conversation ends. And I think that right there is what this episode is all about. Putting yourself in the middle of a conflict and trying to maintain peace will always make one side, if not both, hate you. I mean, as much as I joked about Aang's legacy being squeaky clean because Zuko took the throne, it's really not squeaky clean. After the war, the Earth Kingdom immediately wanted to push out all the Fire Nation colonies. And yet again, Aang had to find a compromise between both. He might have just saved the Earth Kingdom from the aggressive oppressors, and he was praised as a hero. But now, he must also act in the interests of the Fire Nation. Obviously, the war they waged was wrong, and so Aang put an end to it. But what about all those other people who were simply caught up in the current? Times have changed, and so new balance must be found. You can have evidence, you can have your beliefs, but at the end of the day, none of that matters because perception is reality. If you were living under the bountiful rule of Chin, you'd think that Kyoshi is the bad guy. To them, Kyoshi never wanted to protect Kyoshi Island, but rather, she wanted to hurt them and their great leader. Also, side notes, notice Kyoshi casually lava bending here. It's pretty cool. And actually, for the lava to even be there, it implies that she literally just split a tectonic plate. So, even if you don't think all of this super deep societal talk is cool, you at least have to admit that this episode has one of the most insane bending feats there is in the entire franchise. No, but like seriously, this is not earth bending, this is like planet bending. She split a tectonic plate. But what I think is the best encapsulation of all of those conversations is the town's reaction. As a neutral third party, I think you'd normally be like, oh, so he was a tyrant. Okay, that's easy. In the long run, Kyoshi definitely protected this town as well. There really aren't many tyrants who treat their own people well, The clue is kind of in the name. It's a tyrant. But that's not what we see. They immediately latch on to Kyoshi saying that she did in fact kill him. They don't care about the evidence provided. They don't even care about Kyoshi's point of view. They have such bad tunnel vision that they ignore everything except what's favorable. But the thing is, as we've already talked about, this senseless adherence to single, unfounded, or simply convenient arguments is extremely malleable. All you need is a even more convenient argument. And so, just as Aang is supposed to be plunged in boiling oil, the Rough Rhinos show up saying that they are here to claim the town. And very quickly, we go full circle, with them cutting down Chin's statue and now threatening their independence. In a very ironic twist, they now become Kyoshi Island, and foolishly so, they were about to deep fry Aang, the Avatar, the person whose only duty is to prevent stuff like this. They quickly learn what it means to be on the oppressed side. You can't just say that your tyrannical leader was this great dude without expecting some kind of retaliation, right? As the saying goes, what goes around comes around, almost like a boomerang. Now growing desperate, they cry out for Aang's help, who, very fittingly, donning full Kyoshi gear, ends up helping them. Just like with Kyoshi Island, the Avatar protects them, and Avatar Day basically becomes Aang Day. That said, there is a extremely important continuity error here. When he goes to quote-unquote save Aang from his judgment, he moves the wheel by just 1 unit, but community service was never the next one over. 0 out of 10 videos done. Jokes aside, I think the entire pivot we see here with the town is a very nice capstone to all of those conversations we've discussed. Aang has inherited this legacy and the blame of Kyoshi. Blame that is just a result of selfishness and ignorance. But at the same time, we see just how fragile those beliefs are. As soon as Aang is there to protect them and provide them with a convenient truth, Avatar Day becomes a festival to honor him rather than hate him. Enemy of my enemy is my friend and all that. In an ideal world, people should exercise caution and they should consider long-term consequences so that something like this doesn't happen in the first place. We saw what happens when this kind of blind support happens on a large scale with Sozin's War. But the truth is that most people simply can't think big picture and will put themselves above everyone else. It's just basic self-preservation. And so as the Avatar, whether it be Aang or Kyoshi, they must constantly navigate this extremely delicate balance between individual needs and the interests of the world as a whole. And that is an impossible task. If comparison is the theft of joy, well then balancing away someone's advantage is like disappointment thrown right into their face. Not to think about it in purely abstract terms, think of something like a progressive tax rate. You're balancing out the advantage of richer people to reallocate them to poorer people, right? Very simple. Obviously, the ones targeted by the tax get very, very upset, and that is totally fine. But if you want the world to have some degree of equity, it is a trade-off that needs to happen. Or Sozin or whoever else. She knows full well won't be liked and that the title of the Avatar will get dragged through the mud, but she also knows that it is the right thing to do. And that is also why I think we see the whole Zuko alone storyline where he tries clearing the name of the Fire Prince, but okay, let's not talk about that. And conversely, their mood shifting entirely as soon as they require Aang's aid is the depiction of how shallow and self-serving a lot of those interests are. This time, that trade-off for Aang was very, very simple. The Fire Nation are the bad guys and are overreaching massively. In just a couple of months though, Aang would be faced with similar but far more challenging dilemmas of who gets his supports. They must understand that the world will blame them, maybe even hate them, but they must carry that weight for the betterment of everyone else. And one last little goofy throughline we see in this episode is actually the fried food. At the start of the festival, Sokka praised their festival food, which of course ends up being a cheeky bit of foreshadowing to, you know, Aang almost becoming the festival food. Okay, maybe that's a bit too dark, but you get the joke, right? Like Aang was supposed to be boiled in oil. It's funny. But as we loop back to the new version of Avatar Day, the dough is purposely not fried. Just a nice little goof at the end of the episode here. I think when it comes to Avatar Day, a lot of people lump it in with the more fillery, lower stakes episodes. And I mean, to be fair, it doesn't even have a recap bit, which pretty clearly shows you that there isn't like a crucial plot throughline to follow. Sandwiched between the swamp, the blind bandit, and Zuko alone, well, it's not exactly set up for success, is it? But personally, I think it's easily among the most compelling side adventures we see. One that I think desperately needs further exploration. Aang's story, and to some extent Korra's too, was naturally limited with the kind of stuff they could get away with on Nickelodeon. But now that I think most of the audience has matured alongside the series, I think exploring the legacy of a hated and deeply misunderstood Avatar would spark some really, really interesting debates. Even running a small little poll on my own channel. The usual Korra bad because she lost all the avatars doesn't override everything else. Depending on your perspective, Roku might have let down Aang and the world by not stopping Sozin right away. Or maybe you think he did everything right. I mean, the war only started after Roku died, right? During strictly his lifetime, he prevented the war. But at the same time, there were red flags. He probably should have dealt with them. Perhaps you think Kiyoshi severely messed up with the formation of the Dai Li. Or maybe you think their corruption was just a natural outcome of a power vacuum and a war. All of these conversations spark these debates because overall, the Avatar, most of the time at least, is on the right side of history. But what if you take Kuruk's legacy and twist it even further? What if instead of being preoccupied with other things, society thinks that he actively hurt them? What if the next Avatar has to learn of the sacrifices made by the previous one? To slowly begin to restore balance, not in the world, but between the Avatar and the world. While Avatar Day might lack some crucial plots, it gives this incredibly interesting look into the complexities of a world and an era shaped by its respective avatar. In every comparison, there will always be a loser. Glossing over that for the sake of a purely hero's journey, in my mind, is oversimplifying the bigger world and the interplay between it and the Avatar. So what I'm saying is that you should take Avatar Day and instead of it being just 20 minutes, make it into a full-blown series. Thank you very much. And that's the video. Just a quick note while I still have you, in case you are still wanting to give Netflix a, final chance at getting live action rights, we should be getting news about Toph's casting in the Geeked event happening this coming week. I'll be covering the whole thing on my second channel, so if you want to catch the live streams or the video versions, all of that will be available there. Other than that, I want to say a massive thank you to our current patrons and YouTube members who allow me to produce even more of these for you all. And let's also give a warm welcome to the newest members of the team, Victor Lupu, I think? Hideaki Isayama, Trey West, Mike...
I will not back off. I bet elephants get together and make fun of how large your ears are.
That's it! You're going down!
I'll show you who's boss. Earthbending style. I said earthbending style.
He's earthbending.
No, you idiot, it's the girl!
Oh, of course.
I'll hold her! You've got 12 hours to find Haru. We'll be right behind you. Momo, you have some big ears. She'll be fine, Aang. Katara knows what she's doing.
Earthbenders, it is my pleasure to welcome you aboard my modest shipyard. I am your warden. I prefer to think of you not as prisoners, but as honored guests. And I hope you come to think of me as your humble and caring host. You will succeed here if you simply abide... What kind of guest dishonors his host by interrupting him? Take him below. 1 week in solitary will improve his manners. Simply treat me with the courtesy I give you, and we'll get along famously. You will notice, Earthbenders, that this rig is made entirely of metal. You are miles away from any rock or earth. So, if you have any illusions about employing that brutish savagery that passes for bending among you people, forget them. It is impossible. Good day.
Katara?
Peru!
What are you doing here?
It's my fault you were captured. I came to rescue you.
So, you got yourself arrested?
It was the only way to find you.
You got guts, Katara. I'll give you that. Come on. There's someone I want you to meet. Katara, this is my father, Tyro. Dad, this is Katara.
It's an honor to meet you.
Have some dinner, Katara.
Ugh.
It's not as bad as it looks.
Ugh.
It's still pretty bad, though.
Tyro, the prisoners are complaining there aren't enough blankets to go around.
I'll talk to the guards. In the meantime, make sure the elderly are taken care of. The rest of us will simply have to hope for warmer weather.
If you don't mind me asking, what's your escape plan?
Excuse me?
You know, the plan to get everyone off the rig? What is it? Mutiny? Sabotage?
The plan? The plan is to survive. Wait out this war. Hope that one day some of us can get back home and forget this ever happened.
How can you say that? You sound like you've already given up.
Katara, I admire your courage, and I envy your youth. But people's lives are at stake here. The Warden is a ruthless man, and he won't stand for any rebellion. I'm sorry, but we're powerless.
We'll see about that. Earthbenders! You don't know me, but I know of you. Every child in my Water Tribe village was rocked to sleep with stories of the brave Earth Kingdom and the courageous Earthbenders who guard its borders. Some of you may think that the Fire Nation has made you powerless. But they can't take away your courage. And it is your courage they should truly fear, because it runs deeper than any mine you've been forced to dig, any ocean that keeps you far from home. It is the strength of your hearts that make you who you are. Hearts that will remain unbroken when all rock and stone has eroded away. The time to fight back is now. I can tell you the Avatar has returned. So remember your courage, Earthbenders. Let us fight for our freedom!
Your 12 hours are up. Where's Haru? We've got to get out of here.
I can't.
We don't have much time. There are guards everywhere. Get on.
Katara, what's wrong? I'm not leaving. I'm not giving up on these people.
What do you mean you're not leaving?
We can't abandon these people. There has to be a way to help them.
Maybe she's right. What do you say, Sokka?
I say you're both crazy. Last chance. We need to leave. Now.
No.
I hate when you get like this. Come on, we better hide.
Look! Tell me exactly what you saw.
Well, sir, it looked like a flying bison.
What?
It was a giant flying buffalo, sir, with an empty saddle.
Which was it? A buffalo or a bison?
I'm not sure what the difference is, but that's not really the point, is it, sir?
I'll decide what the point is, fool. You! Wake up the captain. Search the entire rig.
Sir,
What?
that was the captain you just threw overboard. so...
Then wake up someone I haven't thrown overboard and search the rig. There's something going on here, and I don't like it.
We don't have much time. What are we gonna do?
I wish I knew how to make a hurricane. The warden would run away and we'd steal his keys.
Wouldn't he just take his keys with him?
I'm just tossing ideas around.
I tried talking the Earthbenders into fighting back, but it didn't work. If there was just a way to help them help themselves.
For that, they need some kind of earth or some rock. Something they can bend.
But this entire place is made of metal.
No, it's not. Look at the smoke. I bet they're burning coal. In other words, Earth.
It's almost dawn. We're running out of time. You sure this is gonna work?
It should. These vents reminded me of our little trick back at the village. We're gonna do the same thing, but on a much bigger scale. There's a huge deposit of coal at the base of the silo, and the whole system is ventilated. Aang closed off all the vents except one. When he does his airbending, the coal only has one place to go. Right back here.
There's the intruder!
Stay back! I'm warning you!
Katara, stop! You can't win this fight!
Listen to him well, child. You're one mistake away from dying where you stand.
Here's your chance, Earthbenders! Take it! Your fate is in your own hands!
Foolish girl. You thought a few inspirational words and some coal would change these people? Look at these blank, hopeless faces. Their spirits were broken a long time ago. Oh, but you still believe in them. How sweet. They're a waste of your energy, little girl. You failed. Show no mercy!
For the Earth Kingdom, attack!
Get to the ship! We'll hold them off! Do not let them escape!
Guys, throw me some coal!
No! Please! I can't swim!
Don't worry. I hear cowards float.
I want to thank you for saving me. For saving us.
All it took was a little coal.
It wasn't the coal, Katara. It was you.
Thank you for helping me find my courage, Katara of the Water Tribe. My family and everyone here owes you much.
So, I guess you're going home now.
Yes, to take back my village. To take back all of our villages! The Fire Nation will regret the day they set foot on our land!
Come with us.
I can't. Your mission is to take back your home. Ours is to get Aang to the North Pole.
That's him, isn't it? The Avatar. Katara, thank you for bringing my father back to me. I never thought I'd see him again. I only wish there was some way.
I know. My mother's necklace! It's gone! Water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
Previously on Avatar.
When the Avatar dies, he's reincarnated into the next nation in the cycle.
That's Avatar Roku, the Avatar before me.
When you are ready, he will reveal himself to you.
I lost my mother in a Fire Nation raid. This necklace is all I have left of her.
The world has changed in the 100 years you've been gone. It's the duty of the Avatar to restore balance to the world by defeating Fire Lord Ozai.
Send word to the Fire Lord immediately. The Avatar has returned.
Look so soft, don't they? Like you could just jump down and you'd land in a big, soft, cottony heap.
Maybe you should give it a try.
You're hilarious.
I'll try it! Turns out clouds are made of water.
Hey, what is that?
It's like a scar. Listen. It's so quiet. There's no life anywhere.
Aang, are you okay?
Fire Nation! Those evil savages make me sick. They have no respect for... Shh! What? I'm not allowed to be angry?
Why would anyone do this? How could I let this happen?
Aang, you didn't let this happen. It has nothing to do with you.
Yes, it does. It's the Avatar's job to protect nature. But I don't know how to do my job.
That's why we're going to the North Pole. To find you a teacher.
Yeah, a waterbending teacher. But there's no one who could teach me how to be the Avatar. Monk Gyatso said that Avatar Roku would help me.
The Avatar before you? He died over 100 years ago. How are you supposed to talk to him?
I don't know.
Uncle, it's time to leave! Where are you? Uncle Iroh!
Over here.
Uncle? We need to move on. We're closing in on the Avatar's trail, and I don't want to lose him.
You look tired, Prince Zuko. Why don't you join me in these hot springs and soak away your troubles?
My troubles cannot be soaked away. It's time to go!
You should take your teacher's advice and relax a little. The temperature's just right. I heated it myself.
Enough! We need to leave now! Get out of the water!
Very well.
On second thought, why don't you take another few minutes? But be back at the ship in half an hour, or I'm leaving without you!
Hey, Aang, Are you ready to be cheered up?
No. Ow! Hey, how is that cheering me up?
Cheered me up. Ow! Yeah, I probably deserve that.
These acorns are everywhere, Aang. That means the forest will grow back. Every one of these will be a tall oak tree someday, and all the birds and animals that lived here will come back.
Thanks, Katara.
Hey, who are you?
When I saw the flying bison, I thought it was impossible. But those markings, are you the Avatar, child? My village desperately needs your help. This young person is the Avatar.
So the rumors of your return are true. It is the greatest honor of a lifetime to be in your presence.
Nice to meet you, too. So, is there something I can help you with?
I'm not sure.
Our village is in crisis. He's our only hope. For the last few days at sunset, a spirit monster comes and attacks our village. He is Heibai, the black and white spirit.
Why is it attacking you?
We do not know. But each of the last 3 nights, he has abducted one of our own. We are especially fearful because the winter solstice draws near.
What happens then?
As the solstice approaches, the natural world and the spirit world grow closer and closer until the line between them is blurred completely.
Heibai is already causing devastation and destruction. Once the solstice is here, there is no telling what will happen.
So, what do you want me to do exactly?
Who better to resolve a crisis between our world and the spirit world than the Avatar himself? You are the great bridge between man and spirits.
Right, that's me.
Hey, great bridge guy. Can I talk to you over here for a second? Aang, you seem a little unsure about all this.
Yeah, that might be because I don't know anything at all about the spirit world. It's not like there's someone to teach me this stuff.
So, can you help these people?
I have to try, don't I? Maybe whatever I have to do will just come to me.
I think you can do it, Aang.
Yeah. We're all gonna get eaten by a spirit monster.
Who's there? A meadow ball. I should have known. You startled me, little one. Seems I've dozed off and missed my nephew's deadline, but it was a very sweet nap.
He's a Fire Nation soldier.
He's no ordinary soldier. This is the Fire Lord's brother, the Dragon of the West, the once great General Iroh. But now, he's our prisoner.
Hello? Spirit, can you hear me? This is the Avatar speaking. I'm here to try to help stuff.
This isn't right. We can't sit here and cower while Aang waits for some monster to show up.
If anyone can save us, he can.
He still shouldn't have to face this alone.
The sun is set. Where are you, Heibai? Well, Spirit, I hereby ask you to please leave this village in peace. Okay. Well, I guess that's settled then. by spirit. My name is... My name is Aang. I'm the Avatar and I would like to help. Hey, wait up!
The Avatar's methods are unusual.
It doesn't seem too interested in what he's saying. Maybe we should go help him.
No, only the Avatar stands a chance against the Heibai.
Aang will figure out the right thing to do, Sokka.
Please, would you stop destroying things and listen? I'm just trying to do my job as Spirit Bridge. Excuse me, would you please turn around? I command you to turn around now!
That's it! He needs help!
Sokka, wait!
It's not safe.
Hey, bye! Over here!
Sokka, go back!
We'll fight him together, Aang.
I don't want to fight him unless I...
Sokka!
Uncle! Uncle, where are you?
Sir, maybe he thought you left without him.
Something's not right here. That pile of rocks.
It looks like there's been a landslide, sir.
Land doesn't slide uphill. Those rocks didn't move naturally. My uncle's been captured by earthbenders.
Help! Hang on, Sokka! Sokka! I failed.
Where are you taking me?
We're taking you to face justice.
Right. But where specifically?
A place you're quite familiar with, actually. You once laid siege to it for 600 days, but it would not yield to you.
Ah, the great city of Ba Sing Se.
It was greater than you were, apparently.
I acknowledge my defeat at Ba Sing Se. After 600 days away from home, my men were tired, and I was tired. And I'm still tired.
I'm sure they'll be back.
I know.
You should get some rest.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Your brother is in good hands. I would be shocked if the Avatar returned without him.
Katara? Katara, I lost him.
The sun is rising. Perhaps he will return soon.
What? No, I'm right here. I'm in the spirit world.
Yep, that's Uncle Iroh.
I'll figure this out, Katara. I promise. Like they said, I'm the bridge between the worlds, right? All I have to do is figure out what I have to do. But once I do that, no problem. Appa, hey buddy, I'm right here. But I guess you can't see me either.
It's okay, Appa. Don't worry. I'm sure they're on their way back. I bet they even found you a bunch of moon peaches for a treat.
What am I supposed to do? Avatar Roku, how can I talk to you? Sokka? That's definitely not Sokka. What? I can't airbend in the spirit world. You don't know where Sokka is, do you? You're Avatar Roku's animal guide. Like Appa is to me. I need to save my friend and I don't know how. Is there some way for me to talk to Roku? I'll be back, Katara. Take me to Roku.
What's the problem?
Nothing. Actually, there is a bit of a problem. My old joints are feeling sore and achy, and these shackles are too loose.
Too loose?
That's right. The cuffs are loose and they jangle around and bump my wrists. It would help me if you would tighten them so they wouldn't shake around so much.
Very well. Corporal, tighten the prisoner's handcuffs.
This is just a statue of Roku. Is that what Roku wants to talk to me about? A comet? When can I talk to him? Will reach Roku on the solstice. So that's when I'll be able to speak to Roku? But I can't wait that long. I need to save Sokka now.
He is too dangerous, Captain. We can't just carry him to the capital. We have to do something now.
I agree. He must be dealt with immediately and severely.
It's no use, Appa. I don't see them anywhere. Our best hope is to go back to the village and wait.
The Avatar.
Where's Sokka?
I'm not sure.
These dangerous hands must be crushed.
Excellent form, Prince Zuko.
You taught me well.
Surrender yourselves. It's 5 against 2. You're clearly outnumbered.
That's true. But you are clearly outmatched.
Now would you please put on some clothes?
Now I understand. You're upset and angry because your home was burned down. When I saw the forest had burned, I was sad and upset. But my friend gave me hope that the forest would grow back.
What happened?
You were trapped in the spirit world for 24 hours. How are you feeling?
Like I seriously need to use the bathroom.
Thank you, Avatar. If only there were a way to repay you for what you've done.
You could give us some supplies and some money.
Sokka?
What? We need stuff.
It would be an honor to help you prepare for your journey.
I'm so proud of you, Aang. You figured out what to do all on your own.
Actually, I did have a little help. And there's something else.
What is it?
I need to talk to Roku, and I think I found a way to contact his spirit.
That's great!
Creepy, but great.
There's a temple on a crescent-shaped island, and if I go there on the solstice, I'll be able to speak with him.
But the solstice is tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's one more problem. The island is in the Fire Nation. Let's go, Appa! Come on, boy! Ugh. Look, I'm sorry, but Katara and Sokka aren't coming to the Fire Nation with us. If they got hurt, I'd never forgive myself. So get your big butt off the ground and let's go!
I think his big butt is trying to tell you something.
Please don't go, Aang. The world can't afford to lose you to the Fire Nation. Neither can I.
But I have to talk to Avatar Roku to find out what my vision means. I need to get to the Fire Temple before the sun sets on the solstice. That's today.
We're not letting you go into the Fire Nation, Aang.
At least not without your friends. We got your back.
Ew! It's a long journey to the Crescent Island. You'll have to fly fast to have any chance of making it before sundown. Good luck.
Thank you for your...
Go!
Having trouble sleeping? Seen the Avatar lately?
Come on, boy, we've got a long way to go. Faster!
Sailing into Fire Nation waters. Of all the foolish things you've done in your 16 years, Prince Zuko, this is the most foolish.
I have no choice, Uncle.
Have you completely forgotten that the Fire Lord banished you? What have you got?
I'm chasing the Avatar. My father will understand why I'm returning home.
You give him too much credit. My brother is not the understanding type.
There they are. Helmsman! Full steam ahead!
Aang, we got trouble!
Yeah, and it's gaining fast!
Really, Prince Zuko, couldn't you shoot them down with something more fragrant?
On my mark. Fire!
Fireball! I'm on it!
We have to get out of Zuko's range before he shoots another hot stinker at us!
Can't you make Appa go any faster?
Yeah, but there's just one little problem.
A blockade.
Technically, you are still in Earth Kingdom waters. Turn back now and they cannot arrest you.
If we fly north, we can go around the Fire Nation ships and avoid the blockade. It's the only way.
There's no time!
This is exactly why I didn't want you to come. It's too dangerous.
And that's exactly why we're here.
Let's run this blockade.
Appa, yip yip!
He's not turning around.
Please, Prince Zuko. If the Fire Nation captures you, there's nothing I can do. Do not follow the Avatar.
I'm sorry, Uncle. Run the blockade!
The Avatar and the Banished Prince. This must be my lucky day.
Commander Zhao, what are your orders?
Shoot the bison down, Captain.
But there's a Fire Navy ship out there, sir. One of our own. What if it's hit?
So be it. It belongs to a traitor.
Ignite! Launch!
Okay?
Prince Zuko, the engines are damaged. We need to stop and make repairs. Do not stop this ship.
Launch!
We got into the Fire Nation. Great.
Where do you think the Avatar is headed, sir?
I'm not sure, but I bet a certain banished prince will know.
We're on a collision course.
We can make it! The boarding party is ready to apprehend Prince Zuko, sir.
Wait! Cut the engines and let them pass.
Sir?
There it is! The island's where Roku's dragon took me. You did it, buddy. Nice flying.
Oh, you must be tired.
No! I'm good. Refreshed and ready to fight some firebenders.
I was talking to Appa.
Well, I was talking to Momo. I don't see any guards.
The Fire Nation must have abandoned the temple when Avatar Roku died.
It's almost sundown. We better hurry.
Wait, I think I heard something.
We are the Fire Sages, guardians of the Temple of the Avatar.
Great! I am the Avatar.
We know.
I'll hold them off! Run!
If the Avatar contacts Roku, there's no telling how powerful the boy will become. Split up and find him.
Follow me!
Do you know where you're going?
Nope! Wrong way!
Come back!
I don't want to fight you. I am a friend.
Firebenders aren't our friends.
I know why you're here, Avatar.
You do?
Yes. You wish to speak to Avatar Roku. I can take you to him.
How?
This way.
Find him.
Time is running out. Quickly!
What's he up to, Uncle? Why didn't Commander Zhao arrest me?
Because he wants to follow you. He knows you'll lead him to the prize you're both after. The Avatar.
If Zhao wants to follow our trail of smoke, then that's exactly what I'll let him do.
Avatar Roku once called this temple his home. He formed these secret passages out of the magma.
Did you know Avatar Roku?
No, but my grandfather knew him. Many generations of fire sages guarded this temple long before me. We all have a strong spiritual connection to this place.
Is that how you knew I was coming?
A few weeks ago, an amazing thing occurred. The statue of Avatar Roku. Its eyes began to glow.
That's when we were at the Air Temple. Avatar Roku's eyes were glowing there, too.
At that moment, we knew you had returned to the world.
If this is the Avatar's temple, why did the sages attack me?
Things have changed. In the past, the sages were loyal only to the Avatar. When Roku died, the sages eagerly awaited for the next Avatar to return. But he never came.
They were waiting for me.
Hey, don't feel bad. You're only 100 years late.
They lost hope the Avatar would ever return. When Fire Lord Sozin began the war, my grandfather and the other sages were forced to follow him. I never wanted to serve the Fire Lord. When I learned you were coming, I knew I would have to betray the other sages.
Thank you for helping me.
We'll follow these stairs to the sanctuary. Once you're inside, wait for the light to hit Avatar Roku's statue. Only then will you be able to speak with him.
What's wrong?
The sanctuary doors. They're closed.
Can't you just open them with firebending? Like you opened that other door?
No. Only a fully realized avatar is powerful enough to open this door alone. Otherwise, the sages must open the doors together with 5 simultaneous fire blasts.
5 fire blasts, huh? I think I can help you out. Uncle, keep heading north. Zhao will follow the smoke trail while I use it as a cover. This is a little trick I picked up from my father. I seal the lamp oil inside an animal skin casing. Xiaoyu lights the oil-soaked twine and ta-da! Fake firebending.
You've really outdone yourself this time, Sokka.
This might actually work. The sages will hear the explosion, so as soon as they go off, you rush in.
It's almost sunset. Are you ready?
Definitely. They're still locked!
It didn't work.
Why won't it open?
Aang, stop! There's nothing else we can do.
I'm sorry I put you through all this for nothing.
I don't get it. That blast looked as strong as any firebending I've seen.
Sokka, you're a genius!
Wait, how is Sokka a genius? His plan didn't even work.
Come on, Aang. Let her dream.
You're right. Sokka's plan didn't work. But it looks like it did.
Did the definition of genius change in the last 100 years?
Come quickly! The Avatar has entered the sanctuary!
How did he get in?
I don't know, but look at the scorch marks. And down there!
He's inside. Open the doors immediately, before he contacts Avatar Roku. It's the Avatar's Lima. He must have crawled through the pipes. We've been tricked!
Now, Aang!
Aang, now's your chance!
The Avatar's coming with me. Close the doors! Quickly!
Go! He made it!
The light hits the statue and I talk to Roku. So why isn't anything happening?
Why isn't it working? It's sealed shut!
It must have been the light. Avatar Roku doesn't want us inside.
Why isn't anything happening? I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is airbending. Please, Avatar Roku, talk to me.
It's good to see you, Aang. What took you so long?
Why did you help the Avatar?
Because it was once the sage's duty. It is still our duty.
What a moving and heartfelt performance. I'm certain the Fire Lord will understand when you explain why you betrayed him.
Commander Zhao.
And Prince Zuko. It was a noble effort, but your little smokescreen didn't work. 2 traitors in one day. The Fire Lord will be pleased.
You're too late, Zhao. The Avatar's inside and the doors are sealed.
No matter. Sooner or later, he has to come out.
I have something very important to tell you, Aang. That is why, when you were in the spirit world, I sent my dragon to find you.
Is it about that vision? The one of the comet?
Yes.
What does it mean?
100 years ago, Fire Lord Sozin used that comet to begin the war. He and his firebending army harnessed its incredible power and dealt a deadly first strike against the other nations.
So the comet made them stronger?
Yes, stronger than you could even imagine.
But that happened 100 years ago. What does the comet have to do with the war now?
Listen carefully. Sozin's comet will return by the end of this summer, and Fire Lord Ozai will use its power to finish the war once and for all. If he succeeds, even the Avatar won't be able to restore balance to the world. Aang, you must defeat the Fire Lord before the comet arrives.
But I haven't even started learning waterbending, not to mention earth and fire.
Mastering the elements takes years of discipline and practice. But if the world is to survive, you must do it by summer's end.
When those doors open, unleash all your firepower!
How's Aang gonna make it out of this?
How are we gonna make it out of this?
What if I can't master all the elements in time? What if I fail?
I know you can do it, Aang, for you have done it before. The solstice is ending. We must go our separate ways. For now.
But I won't be able to come back to the temple. What if I have questions? How will I talk to you?
I am a part of you. When you need to talk to me again, you will find a way. A great danger awaits you at the temple. I can help you face the threat, but only if you are ready.
I'm ready.
Ready?
No! Aang!
Fire!
Avatar Roku. Avatar Roku is going to destroy the temple. We have to get out of here.
Not without Aang!
We got your back.
Thanks. Where's Shayu?
I don't know.
No prince, no avatar. Apparently, the only thing I do have is 5 traitors.
But Commander, only Shayu helped the Avatar.
Save your stories for the Fire Lord. As far as I'm concerned, you are all guilty. Take them to the prison hold.
water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
Previously on Avatar.
You're a waterbender!
Well, not yet. If we go to the North Pole, you can master waterbending.
We can learn it together.
I lost my mother in a Fire Nation raid. This necklace is all I have left of her.
Aang, you must defeat the Fire Lord before the comet arrives.
But I haven't even started learning waterbending, not to mention earth and fire.
Mastering the elements takes years of discipline and practice. But if the world is to survive, you must do it by summer's end.
Would you sit down? If we hit a bump, you'll go flying off. What's bugging you anyway?
It's what Avatar Roku said. I'm supposed to master all four elements before that comet arrives.
Well, let's see. You pretty much mastered airbending, and that only took you 112 years. I'm sure you can master 3 more elements by next summer.
I haven't even started waterbending, and we're still weeks away from the North Pole. What am I gonna do?
Calm down. It's gonna be okay. If you want, I can try and teach you some of the stuff I know.
You'd do that?
We'll need to find a good source of water first.
Maybe we can find a puddle for you to splash in. Nice puddle.
Yeah! Don't start without me, boy!
Remember the reason we're here.
Oh, right. Time to practice waterbending.
Great. So what am I supposed to do?
You could clean the gunk out of Appa's toes.
So, while you guys are playing in the water, I'm supposed to be hard at work picking mud out of a giant bison's feet?
Mud and bugs.
Okay. Someone's changing our course. What's the meaning of this mutiny? No one told you to change course.
Actually, someone did. I assure you, it is a matter of utmost importance, Prince Zuko.
Is it something to do with the Avatar?
Even more urgent. It seems I've lost my lotus tile.
Lotus tile?
For my Paisho game. Most people think the lotus tile insignificant, but it is essential for the unusual strategy that I employ.
You've changed our course for a stupid lotus tile?
See, you like most people underestimate its value. Just give me 10 minutes to check the merchants at this port of call. Hopefully, they'll have the lotus tile in stock and I can get on with my life. I'm lucky to have such an understanding nephew.
Yeah, don't get too happy. You've got to do me next.
This is a pretty basic move, but it still took me months to perfect. So don't be frustrated if you don't get it right away. Just push and pull the water like this. The key is getting the wrist movement right.
Like this?